Well, I think that's a bit harsh because in theory, Ukraine was guaranteed its security by United States, United Kingdom, and Russia back in 1994 when it gave up its nuclear weapons. I mean, it was the world's third largest nuclear weapons power for 3 years, or 2.5 years. But it gave them up with a security guarantee. And this was followed, from what I recall, the Treaty of Friendship with Ukraine in 1997, followed by the Kharkiv Accords in 2010, which was basically about the Black Sea Fleet and extending the lease in Sevastopol for the Black Sea Fleet. But once again, Russia guaranteeing that it accepted the borders of Ukraine. So, who apart from those three powers does Ukraine really need to secure its borders, right? You would think that would be enough. If it's got the Americans, the British, and the Russians securing the borders, no one's going to threaten Ukraine. So I don't really blame Ukraine. I think it did improve its army, as we're seeing today. I mean, it's withstanding an invasion by the world's largest country and the world's second largest military force. This is a staggering achievement by itself. So maybe it doesn't need a bigger army. Maybe you already suggested, like, maybe you can cut down the size of your military, and because perhaps it's not needed. Ukraine, I think, needs to focus on economic revival, and also clearly needs security interests have to be looked after. But where does Ukraine look for this, right? I mean, it's going to be next to Russia always. Geographically, it's a nightmare perhaps, but still, you cannot change that. And this is an unfortunate part of geography. But I think the change has to come in Russia, even though you perhaps implied that Russia has a permanent imperialist mindset, no matter who is in charge, right? You suggested that. For some time, the relations with Russia under Boris Yeltsin were chaotic, but they were not hostile. And in that period, you're looking at have I got this right? Oh, two different Ukrainian presidents, just Kravchuk and Kuchma, right? Until 2004. In 2004, when Yushchenko won the election, things started to get a little haywire, but by then you'd already got Putin as president of Russia. And I don't really count the Medvedev period, but that was a pretty hostile one as well. And then after 2012, when Putin comes back, he clearly is on a kind of messianic mission to make Russia a kind of global power, but carving it out of this former Russian empire, which he's doing now. And had this been successful, had the war in Ukraine been successful, I have absolutely no doubt that Russia would have occupied Georgia and Moldova, and perhaps even Armenia as well. They would not have stopped at that border.